Hey friends, how's it going? This is Wolf, and in today's video I want to show you how I built a cool Ghiblify bot using the new OpenAI API. So, as you can see, you can send any image to the bot like this one here, and it'll Ghiblify the image in a super nice style within, well, less than a minute. It works with different aspect ratios, so here we have a portrait, here we have a landscape, it comes out like this, and here we have, well, also kind of a portrait, but it's not as portrait, so it makes it squared, right? So we do have different aspect ratio detection here, and we just have this automatic workflow of sending an image and then pretty much Ghiblifying it in no time. So in today's video, I'm going to show you guys how to build this bot. We are going to build it step by step together. And I'd say without further ado, let's get started. So back to n8n, we're building a full no-code workflow, of course, so we can just hit create workflow here. And we will start with the Telegram trigger. So the things you need here, two things, is Telegram credentials for your Telegram bot. I just set up this new bot here, called Ghiblify Bot, and also an OpenAI key to access the image gen. Okay, so let's set this up here. Select the right credential. Also, I do apologize, I am still a little bit sick, a little bit of a cold, so yeah, please excuse that. But I was like, hey, we gotta grind it out. We have all the new APIs now. I gotta make some new videos and pump it out for you guys. So Telegram is connected. Now here on platform.openai.com, you can just head to the API section here, create a new secret key, do something like image gen agent, for example, create the secret key, copy it, and then put it into your credentials here for the OpenAI node, right? So OpenAI, for example, just anything, and then here you'd say new credential, click, name it, and there you have it. So I've done that already, so we don't need to do it now. Also, let's do a quick check here what we will be using. So we will be using HTTP requests, because I can also show you guys. If you go to OpenAI, the OpenAI node, and generate an image, now n8n so far only has DALL-E 2 and the DALL-E 3 models, but we want to use the new GPT Image 1 model, which is incredibly powerful. So to do that, we will actually just do a custom call and set it up based on these parameters here, right? And it's going to be this one, the GPT Image 1, which was integrated into GPT a couple weeks ago and has taken the world by storm because it is incredibly good, okay? So yeah, you can see you can basically have different endpoints here. You also have a variations endpoint and an edits endpoint. You can even put masks on top and then modify only certain parts, and it works with both text and image prompts on different endpoints, so it's very powerful. It's also kind of pricey. Here you can see the GPT Image 1 model. Here it has an input price of $10, output of $40 per 1 million tokens. Now, well, how are tokens calculated? We'll get to that in a second. And this is for image to image, I believe. So the text to image should be half of this, 5 input, 40 output, I believe. But take it with a grain of salt. And also here, if we go back a little bit, here we have the different models, the DALL-E 2, DALL-E 3, and the new one, GPT Image 1. And here you can see, based on the resolution, 3 resolutions are supported now: the squared, the portrait, and landscape, which is not really like, 9 to 16 or 16 to 9. It's more like 4 to 3 or something like that. Or 3 to 2. And yeah, we do have different qualities here. So we have low, medium, and high, and then based on that, it's a different output price, right? So on average, I'd say, well, you should calculate with maybe something between like $6 to $16 per image. So it is kind of pricey, but also it is incredibly strong with restyling and also with text, of course, as I think anyone has already seen on like Twitter or YouTube or anywhere on the net. Okay, so yeah, first of all, I will add a tiny auth check here just to make sure that everything goes well. So let's just say something like, hey, now we add a little if note here, and you guys know I like to do that because it'll help us to actually make sure that only we can access the bot, right? So you will just go to this ID here and then compare it to your own ID. Now my own ID is actually this value here. We can convert the types to avoid any string int typecasting errors. And this is basically just the auth setup, for example, or we can also call it as admin because it's an if check. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So we just compare the ID to this, and then we just have two messages. So first of all, we have a Telegram message here, and we will, if this defaults to or if this goes to the false branch, so if this is not true, we will just send something like hey, you are not authorized to use this bot. Put our Telegram ID in here, and of course make sure it's the Ghiblify bot here, and then we can say something like no auth. You guys know that's kind of a thing I like to do. Also disable the attribution here like that, and that just means anybody who like messages our bot, it'll just tell them, hey, you can use it, because this could potentially drain lots of credits. So you do want to have some auth checks here, preferably. Okay, so then next, we can just copy this, and if it does work out, we can pretty much start to say, I will Ghiblify your image now, please allow me a moment, something like that. Yeah, this is the right bot, and then just it's like a confirmation message, right? So this means whenever we send something, and now this bot is just designed to instantly send it an image without any prompt or anything, and it'll Ghiblify it, you know? I will also make some tutorials and show you guys how you can actually add text prompts or different variation styles. And some people have also told me in the comments to like clone more popular sites, like Kling, for example, so kind of clone the UI and all of that. And we may actually do that and do some cool vibe coding. But for now, we will just do a super efficient Ghiblify bot, right? So you want to check this little download image field here. So we have instant binary data for the image, and can now in the next step work with that. So actually I'm going to add a new branch here, and now we want to have a convert node, and we want to convert binary to JSON, and we want to move it to base64 string. Okay, and this is fine. And the way or the reason we do this is because I'm using a custom code node now, and actually analyze our base64 string, which represents our image, to make sure that we can extract all the necessary information, such as height, width, then calculate the aspect ratio, and then calculate the aspect ratio that we want OpenAI to use, right? And this will make sense in 1 second. So it's a little bit longer script, to be honest, 100 lines, but it does a very good job. And basically what it does, it just grabs our item. It works with both direct binary data, if that is the case, or the base64 string, which we do in our case. And we want to select run once for each item here. And I'm going to show you this in 1 second, okay? Now also here, you want to add an option, keep source, and you want to keep both. That's very important, because we do need to keep both the JSON and the data binary file. Because we want to use the base64 data for our script, but we also want to pass through the binary to use it in the OpenAI node, because it is much easier that way and actually requires the direct binary data. Okay, so yeah, I mean, we could do some tests here, but I guess we can also just pretty much start, I guess. So yeah, actually, we do need the key here in a second. I just recognized, but it'll be okay. So this is going to be a little bit of a longer request. So we are going to image modify, going to name this image modify. And now we will, because we want to kind of redesign this and use an image as input instead of only a plain text prompt, we want to call the images edit endpoint here. We don't need authentication here because we will be using our headers. No queries needed, but we do need headers and body, right? So now a few things. We want to have this, then we want to have the bearer token. Now allow me 1 second, please, because I do need to copy one of the keys here. So let me do it like this. Perfect. And now let's go back here, see what else we need. Okay, so you are going to put your API key in there. Okay. Also, one thing you do need to verify at the time of recording this video, you do need to verify your organization. on OpenAI to be able to use the GPT Image 1 endpoint. So that's super easy. You can just do it from your dashboard here, and it'll give you like a verification link. You can send it to your email, and then you just use your phone, scan your ID. It takes like 1 or 2 minutes. You just need to scan your ID and do a quick face scan, kind of like when you want to open like accounts or something, because, well, they do want to know that it's actually run by humans and avoid any like huge botting, especially with the image API, right? So yeah, just keep that in mind. Now we will be using a, a lot of body parts, to be honest, and this has to be form data. So you want to select form data here, and now you want to put in the prompt. And since, I mean, typically you could just pass the Telegram text here as prompt if you had that, but we want to make the Ghiblify bot so it'll just Ghiblify any image instantly. And then in a different video we can also make a fully custom bot that can like execute any prompts and all of that. But yeah, for now I keep it like this, and we'll just say something like get this image in Studio Ghibli style while keeping let's see, now I can't see what I'm tapping. Composition, colors, and vibe, very similar like that. Okay, so recreate this image in Studio Ghibli style while keeping composition, colors, and vibes very similar. Perfect. Now we want to have another one that's going to be our model, because you could also be using DALL-E for those. For example, we want to use the GPT Image 1. I believe n8n will probably add this in a little bit as well, but with the custom codes we have way more freedom and way more options to modify every single tiny part, you know, so that's pretty cool. Now you want to have a number and basically how many generations you want to do, or iterations. Also, this is interpreted as a string, so this doesn't work. You do need to use an expression, and then you do need to put it into these bracelets here to make sure that it's actually working. Okay, so it's actually seen as a string. Okay, now to put this in we do need something, so let me just stop this and let me show you the script so far, right? So we're going to test our workflow here. I'm just going to copy this image and then use it in our bot here, and let's do it like that. And as you can see, we passed the admin check, we extracted to base64, we sent the confirmation message, and we execute the code node. Now what the code node does is very important, because it gives us both the binary data output. So as you can see here, let me see, where is it even? We return a full item, and the item consists of our binary data here, item.binary. If we don't have it, we are going to craft it. And also it's crafting this JSON, right? So it has a JSON part and it has a binary part here, okay? That's being created here. So we basically recreate the binary part from our base64 string again. And that's very important because we do need a binary data for OpenAI to use in our HTTP call. And also, as you can see here, it's just a simple calculation. We use the width and the height of the base64 string. We extract the information, we calculate the aspect ratio it currently has, our image, and then we default the squared one, and then we check if the actual one is bigger than 1.6 or smaller than 0.7. We actually set these values here, and you can change this a little bit. So this is kind of the threshold when the bot is going to use a landscape or portrait mode, and you can kind of define how strict that should be. Okay, and then if it's not hitting these, it's just going to stay with the default squared 1 by 1. Okay, so that's kind of all it does. And here we just have all the parsing, because we kind of need to have this incredibly long base64 string and then calculate our stats based on that string, which is a little bit tricky. But yeah, also whenever you need these code nodes, I can recommend the new O3 model, O3, which is incredibly strong at coding and reasoning. So I actually did this script with O3 and it did a pretty good job, right? Yeah, well, so now we have the binary data here, but also we still have well, why do we have this? Let me see. We still have that actually. What we want here is this JSON data here, because we, as you can see, we see the width and the height, then we have a real aspect ratio of 0.56, and that results in the desired OpenAI size ratio, 1024 by 1536, okay? And yeah, that's pretty much what it should be. It should be portrait because the original was portrait. And yeah, OpenAI will do the rest. So now let's see, we do need to connect this. Whoops, like that. And now we go to JSON here and we can go, why is that so buggy? Let me just use the table, I guess, like that. And now here for our, where are we? So we had n, yeah, now we have the size. Now for the size, you just want to drag the OpenAI size here and it'll use the ones we had. You can also use auto here if you want to, and then the API will decide, but I prefer this approach because with our custom script, we can set our own limits and thresholds and very narrowly define when we want to use portrait, landscape, or squared mode, right? So I prefer to do it like that. And well, then we want to have as our last part our n8n binary file, which is going to be the image and which is going to be the data, which we still have here as the binary output for the code node, okay? So yeah, that's pretty much all we have here. And now we can run this node and see if we, oh well, we do need, let me see. Of course, we need a post, that's for sure. And then let's run it again. So guys, very important, we do need the post request here. Also, what I kind of like, because it's the API with the huge GPU cluster is pretty fast. It's just executing the node for a while, and it's not giving you like a task ID and then you need to queue it again and all of that. It's just giving you the full output, well, or an error message if you have like any moderation issues or something was blacklisted. But yeah, it should give us the image here in just a little bit. Okay, that's still from the previous run. So we can actually go ahead here, and since this is going to be a base64 string, which is kind of funny because this node will result in a base64 string output. So we need to convert the base64 string back to binary data. So move base64 string to file. It'll be called data, I believe, or no, it'll be called something else. Let me see. It'll be something else. It's b64 underscore JSON already. So here, you wanna drag this in because this is the name. Well, it needs to be an expression, of course. The b64 underscore JSON, which represents our image. And now we just use this simple n8n node to convert this back to binary file and name it data, because that's the default name. And now we can go ahead to Telegram and we can send a photo message like this, and it can be a binary file called data, and we just need our chat ID. So that's gonna be this one. Let's just copy it, this expression, put this here. Oh, very important, we of course need to select our correct bot. That's very important. Send image. And now also, let's not forget a little caption. Here is your Ghibli image, like that. And I think we should be good to go. So we want to execute that. What happened here? Executing node. Still executing for some reason. Let me see what happened here. Oh, I think we are in like a weird little loop bug now. I'm not sure what happened here. My n8n is kind of buggy right now. That's interesting. So let's see what's going on here. Should work in just a second though. Oh, hold on. What's the problem here? Oh, it's passing. Wait. Oh, that's my bad. We do need to pass it like that, because it was okay. Yeah, it's expecting the direct field name, so you do need to have this fixed, not expression. That was my bad. And not parse this incredibly long 64 string as like a full string, which is incredibly long. but just pass this reference here, okay, to the object basically. And now we can just send our little image here, and voila, here we go. Now we have the Ghiblified image here of Daenerys Targaryen from Game of Thrones. And as you can see, it also copied or mimicked the aspect ratio. Of course, it's not the exact aspect ratio because OpenAI only has 3 options. They may change that in the future, but it does work out pretty nicely, right? It does work out pretty nicely. And yeah, that's pretty much how the bot works. Now we can also test the full workflow. So let me just go here, grab this image as reference. We test our workflow again, kind of, well, move it like here, I guess, something like that. And now we just put it here, and then you can see how it goes through these nodes, and it extracts all the values. Now it sends the request to OpenAI. Once that's done, it'll move it to a binary data, back to binary file from the base64 string, and then send the final image here. And that's pretty much the full workflow, guys. Yeah, that's pretty much the full workflow. So that's how you can build your own Ghiblify bot in Telegram, which is super handy. The logic is pretty damn simple. You could also do this now in Discord, WhatsApp, well, pretty much anywhere, right? Any of the integrations. Speaking of which, I was actually working on some WhatsApp and Discord bots today as well for different projects. So I might as well, you know, maybe tackle that in one of the next videos. So let me know if you'd enjoy that. So we can build the WhatsApp bot or a Discord bot, and voila, here we go. And now it sends back our beautiful image of this submarine here underwater with the nice light rays and all of that. And yeah, that's pretty much our Ghiblify bot, guys. So let's go over the process one final time. So we do have our Telegram trigger as always. We do have our little auth check to protect your API, and just for the sake of, you know, because I just kind of like it. We send a confirmation message that we start, then we extract the file. We could add some error handling here or send the confirmation a tiny bit later, but I feel like this is still working pretty neatly. Now, this is one of the main parts, you know, because this is very important. We do need to return both our JSON data that still has the aspect ratio and the desired new ratio of the image, and also our binary data, because we do need to use that as input, right, for our image. And now, well, basically everything we do is here in this OpenAI node, which is a custom HTTP call, since n8n so far has not added the new model just yet, as far as I'm concerned, or I'm aware. Now, a few things you wanna, well, kind of, you know, keep in mind here. Use the correct model here. Make sure this is an integer and not a string. Well, you can also set this to auto or just use the size from your previous script. And here, very important, if you use the binary file, it needs to be accessible. And that's why we pass it through the nodes and have it in the previous node here as binary data, but also have everything else here, right? Also the JSON data. So yeah, that's pretty much how it goes. And then also, as you guys can see here, it does return our base64 string as a string here. So it you know, is a very long string, so you need to move it back to an actual file to then view it. So we could also just view it here, of course. And then you can send this binary file in Telegram or WhatsApp or Discord or your web application or mobile app or anything like that, okay? And that's pretty much the full workflow, guys. And that's how we built this cool little Ghiblify agent. So let me know what you guys want to see next. I do have a lot of cool ideas, but I also want to listen to you guys. I'm planning to pump out more videos over this weekend, so you will probably just like see them and have them released over the next couple of days. And yeah, apologies for my voice. I'm still kind of sick with the cold, but I think we will get there very soon. So thank you so much for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, feel free to subscribe. I'm pushing a lot of those no-code tutorials and also some vibe code tutorials for all kinds of workflows, bots, automation processes, all of that good stuff that we have in this amazing digital age of AI. And yeah, friends, let me know in the comments if you enjoyed this and if you want to see some more tutorials like that. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a wonderful evening. Thank you so much. Wolf and peace.